Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Elizabeth A. Corshu. I am the founder and CEO of Nurse Exec Innovation. I am the Chief Wellness and Innovation Officer, as well as the host of this newly minted, rebranded podcast titled Mic'd Up and Unapologetic. Yes, yes, yes. You heard that right. Mic'd Up and Unapologetic. In a season, in a time in society where there's so much information overload and there's misinformation, this is the podcast that was created to speak truth to power. Tagline is where purpose and presence meets the mic. Tonight, we have our wonderful, distinguished guest. Her name is Rhona Vega. I am so excited to bring on today. As you know, we talk about all opportunities in regards to advocacy. We have visionaries, we have game changers looking to execute their global footprint in today's society in the areas of healthcare, education, business, cultural, technology, and so much more. But today we have a wonderful topic. But I'm going to kind of briefly give you a little bit of an appetizer as to who Rhona Vega is as the founder and CEO of Parent Matterz, Chief Dreamer. So I want to say welcome, Rhona.
Thank you.
Welcome to Mic'd Up and Unapologetic. Tonight's conversation is for every parent who has ever wondered, am I doing enough? Am I doing this right? Because truth is, parenting does not come in a manual. It comes with moments of highs and downs, sacrifices and decisions that shape not only our children's future, but our legacy. Our guest tonight understands that wholeheartedly. Rhona Vega is the CEO and founder of Parent Matterz, an award-winning author. Yeah, catch that. A woman who has raised children. And please correct me, I'm just only going by things that I've Googled and learned. As a single mother, and I just want to...
I was a single mother for the first two.
Yes. Okay, single mother.
Divorced and then became single mother, yes.
Okay, I just remember I told you we speak truth to power.
No, I hear you. No, I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. And a woman who has raised 5 children, turning her life experiences into a powerful blueprint. Intentional, catch that, people, intentional parenting. Her latest book, which is How to Raise Kids Will Thank You Later. Ooh. The power of exposure is more than a title. It's a movement. So tonight we're talking about the realities of motherhood, the strength behind struggle, and how we raise children who grow into purposeful gratitude and greatness. And I'm going to say it, my soror from Delta Sigma Theta, Sorority Incorporated, she belongs to a host of other civic organizations, but I have to make a shout out to Delta Sigma Theta, Sorority Incorporated.
That's right.
So I'm going to lean in because my sister Sora said, you gave me way too many questions, and I told her we just going to let it flow, let it go.
Way too many questions.
So Rhona, take us back. What were some of the hardest moments that you faced? Before I just jump in, is there anything that I missed that you wanted to share, or you'll share it at the end?
No, you shared everything. Thank you.
All right. So Rhona, take us back. What were some of the hardest moments you faced raising children as a single mother, or in the first couple of years, but as a mother in general, that people didn't see?
Oh, wow. I mean, this is a new term that's out there now called the invisible load. Yeah, just so much. Yeah. So it's that load that you're carrying that no one else sees, and you think they see it, but they don't see it. And kind of we're faking it till we make it, right? And we're just trying to push through. I saw something on Instagram that really resonated with me recently that this can answer that question. It's like sometimes the absent parent, right? When I became a divorced single mother, of two girls gets more love and respect because you can kind of imagine what they are, who they are, because you're not really around them. And the parent who's doing all the work that's there every day gets a lot of grief, a lot of hardship, a lot of there's a lot going on, right? And sometimes that can be because the child is even angry because that absent parent isn't there. But so the parent who is present, sometimes the mom, sometimes the dad gets kind of beat up along the way while you're trying to hold everybody together. So it was difficult. I mean, I was unfortunately a victim of domestic violence in my first marriage. And in my second marriage, it was more emotional abuse. So I crisscrossed the country just to stay safe and keep my girls safe.
Did you say cross country?
Yeah, I crisscrossed the country. I lived in North Carolina, then I moved to California, and then I moved back to the East Coast.
Oh, wow. Wow. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you taught me something, Soror, about invisible load. It makes sense. It makes sense. I could relate to that as a single mother that has raised her twin sons since 3 years old on her own. Yeah. So thank you for quantifying that. So I'm just gonna kind of just flow right in. And thank you so much for. You see how you just taught me something, Soror. So was there ever a moment in time? I feel like Whitney Houston, moment in time. Was there ever a moment in time that you question yourself as a mother, saying, what did I do wrong? Am I doing the right thing? What am I learning from all of this? What's my experience?
You said a moment, man. That's like every other day. My kids are grown now. The youngest one is 21, and I'm still questioning, But what I had to do, right, in those questions, and I'm glad you brought this up because I know that we as parents do this. And when I get a chance to talk to parents one-on-one, individually, in a group session or whatever, I just kind of remind them. First of all, I want them to put their phone down if they're talking to me on the phone and put it on speaker and just give themselves a hug. So if anybody's watching, please just give yourselves a hug because we have these children, or we adopt children, or we gain children through many different ways. And no one ever gives us an instruction manual. No one ever tells us what to do. So we're all trying to figure it out. And we're usually just going by what we experienced in our own upbringing most of the time. And we may try to tweak different things, but getting it right or feeling like I did something wrong, yeah, that was a big part of my journey. But I got to a point, and I am a big supporter of mental wellness and therapy. I ended up in therapy because of abuse, but it ended up turning out to be the best thing I could have ever done. And I continued to see a therapist, and just wanted to make sure all my children had access to knowing that life is going to be hard. There are going to be different things you go through. I even include therapy in sessions in our college and career readiness workshops that we do through the YWCA Junior Jumpstart, because I understand that young people need to understand that life is going to life, and you getting into college or finding a career is hard, but it's not the hardest thing you're going to deal with in life. And you need a toolkit to always be able to reach into, whether that's someone to call, whether that's breathing techniques, whether that's therapy, all the things. You got to have a support system and a way to cope through life. So through therapy, I learned to give myself grace, lots of grace as a parent.
Yes. Can I clap this up for you right here? Because that is and if I may I lean into your cultural
background? Absolutely.
So you're a Boricua, you're Puerto Rican, correct? Are you Puerto Rican?
I'm not. I'm actually African American and Native American. My husband is Boricua. My children are Boricua.
Okay. Thank you. See, I told you to speak truth to power. So with that being said, just the whole idea that you shared, and somebody's probably getting a woosah moment about mental health therapy is so important, and I subscribe to that as well. After the global pandemic, I felt like I was, the song by DMX. I feel like I'm about to lose my mind up in here, up in here. And I was like, and I was like, I was holding on to all the values, all the principles, Haitiana, Haitian, no, we go to, church, we pray about it. We don't go to therapists, African, no, we keep it to the chest. And let me tell you, if I kept that thing to the chest, I would have exploded. So yes, therapy is very important. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So we clap that up. So the next question I wanted to ask is in regards to just where did you have your most inspiring moments in regards to the motherhood journey? What was an inspiring moment or aha moment that you felt like, you know what, I kind of got this. I can, give myself a pat on the back. Can you tell me that moment? Because we're all waiting for that moment.
Like I said, it is a journey. Motherhood, parenthood is a journey. It's a lifelong journey, and, I lost my mom to COVID, my bestie, my girl. And I think about how often as I go through different challenges and different stages with and even celebrations with my older children out there, adults. And I go, man, I talk to her all the time every day. And I'm like, phew, Ma, I can't believe you put up with me, because we as parents, and going back to that last question, I want to bring it in, is we do the best we can. And I ended on give myself grace. And I just want everyone listening to remind themselves to give themselves grace. You're doing the best you can. And if you want to improve or do something better, then you have to get some information, right? You have to seek some support. And I think a lot of us we parent in silos, so we don't know to get support, we don't know where to get support. And so just give yourselves grace and seek support out. I had a whole village that I created, so I'll say that as my inspired moment, right? The fact that I was courageous enough to say, I need a mentor for my son, I need a mentor for my daughter. I asked people. We had a pediatrician when we moved back to the East Coast to New Jersey. We had a pediatrician, and she was a Black female. And I was like, the first appointment, I was like, "Can you be my daughter's mentors?" Like, I just was like, because all someone can say is yes or no, or I'll think about it, right? And so I've never been afraid, because this is what I think the biggest key to parenting is creating that village and having other people. You plant the seeds and let other people water it. So my kids, I will say strongly that they listen to other people way more than they listen to me or my husband. So once I figured that out, I call it mom psychology. And it really kind of pissed my husband off, because he was like, we pay the bills, we do this, we do that, we sacrifice all this stuff, and they're not listening. And I'm like, child, I ain't even waiting for them. I ain't trying to figure out none of this out. I saw it work one time, so I'm gonna keep using this technique.
I like that. I'm a coin that term for you. Momology. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't know. You said psychology.
Mom psychology, but I like momology.
Yeah, but I don't know. Momology. I don't know. It just came. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Rhona Vega, momology.
Momology. But listen, so you gotta include. I think sometimes we're afraid, right? I've worked with so many parents in my lifetime. I gave back, and I worked with domestic violence victims at a shelter where I lived, and that was and it turned into a job, and I did that for about 15 years, and that was so good for me. It was very cathartic for me to be able to help someone and to say, I know it's tough right now, but one day you're going to smile again. One day this is going to be the past, and you got to keep going, and just pour into them in any way I could. But we tend to keep things, like you said, close to the chest, and we don't want our kids. We kind of is parentified. I've been told, and I've worked with a lot of art therapists and music therapists around children, and so we want to make sure. We're sometimes afraid to introduce our kids to mentors or someone, because we're like, they're gonna act up, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. Well, you know what? First of all, if someone wants to be a mentor to your child, that's the whole point of it. Like, so you can't. And I'm gonna tell you, kids always act better when they're somewhere else than they're with you. So I say take the risk, and in a sense of, especially if it's someone from the church or someone from the family that is, or someone you have vetted and know that they could be a great mentor. If your child likes computer science, then introduce them to an engineer. Put an engineer in their life so they can ask questions, even if you're present. You know what I mean? But you gotta kids youth can't be what they can't see, right? They can't be what they can't see. So we have to have this time to expose them to different people that are going to pour into them a little differently. And this is a great way because parents need to salvage their relationships with your kids. You only have them for like 18 years technically or so under your roof, maybe longer, but you want to salvage that time, and you don't want it to be a back and forth nagging like, oh, my mother's this. And I know my kids were not big fans of mine because I didn't figure this whole part out until maybe the third kid. So that's why I titled the book How to Raise Kids That'll Thank You Later, because I know they're thanking me now. I'm not sure they still like me 100%. They love me, but they were pissed off. It's like, why are you making me do this? And so when it came from someone else, it was a little easier on the, so then they just felt like, I know you called somebody. They kind of got hip a little while later.
I know.
But I think that's important because it takes, especially as a single parent, it helps ease the burden because you're everything.
Yes. So that leads us into the next question. What did motherhood look like for you in moments where you felt exhausted, overwhelmed, and still had to show up?
I'm laughing because so my mother used to say, you have to laugh to keep from crying, girl. So I laugh a lot. I laugh a lot because, and my son took a psychology class. I don't know if it was high school or college. And he's like, Mom, I learned that people who laugh and smile a lot or seem really bubbly might be the most depressed. And that could be, it's been a struggle since I was 19. I was a teenage mother. And so it has been a journey. And you know what? I experienced something last week, something really great. I ended up speaking at a couple of conferences, and I sent a text to my kids.
I saw it. It was
it was pretty amazing. And I sent a text to my kids right before I left for the conference, and I said, I'm so happy that I chose to pour into you the way I did. To really spend those extra minutes, those extra hours, or whatever I did. There are no regrets here, none. But now it's about me. I poured into my husband. I poured into so many people. I took care of mom, my husband, all the things. And, it just made me feel really good to be able to step into this new era and still be healthy and in my right mind, and just thanking God over and over and over again for this opportunity. So, do I wish I had maybe had a little bit more income, some jobs with a little bit more pension? Yeah, but would I trade it off? Mm-mm. Actually, now that I look back, to see my kids as whole human beings, that's all that matters. That's really all that matters. It doesn't even matter about their jobs. It's a matter that they're whole human beings. And that took a lot of sacrifice. And I'm glad that I made those sacrifices. Yeah.
I love that. I hope people really catching that. You said, I have no regrets because I have raised a whole human being. Deep. Thank you. So when did you begin to see that your impact of parenting in your children's growth and choices? Like, can you give an example? Don't have to call the name of the child, or obviously if they're watching or catch the replay, they'll know who it is. But or instead of I don't want you to single anybody out.
No, it's fine.
I don't know what that looks like.
I can. No, that's all right. They're used to it. They're good. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to go back to last week because last week was life-changing for me. It really allowed me to step into a place that, my mother used to say this a lot. She's like, I had a good life. And I have. Up until last week, I still had a good life. But last week was so sweet and so special. And it was like a full circle. One of the conferences I ended up at was the Goldman Sachs 1 million Black women. So oddly enough, I was in the same room that my son was in 10th grade.
What?
And that's what really launched Parent Matterz. He did a program, and it was so crazy because they put us up in hotels, and it was 316 Black women from all over the country, and it was just 27 states they were from. And it was just such a beautiful experience. And I just want to put a plug in for that. The application is open right now. If you have a business, please apply. Please apply. 1,600 people applied. I feel very blessed to be one of the 316 that got in. This is my third time applying, so do not give up. But when I tell you they made us feel like royalty and queens, and so it was so spiritual for me because we started every day with gospel music. Oh, girl. And but it was all about us becoming CEOs, right? From founder to CEO and scaling and so much, phenomenal stuff. But that full circle moment of remembering when Goldman Sachs sent my son a credit card. He was in 10th grade for
Oh,
for the 3 days that he was staying at the Conrad Hotel in New York City, right next to Goldman Sachs,
that's it. I love
for a
that.
3 day, and it was called Jumpstart through a program called Lead and connected with NYU. So it was so surreal. And I said, this is my first time in my life at this big age that anybody has ever taken me anywhere. Like, they flew all these people into the city and paid for my hotel, all the things. And my son experienced this in 10th grade. And I said, if he's experiencing this in 10th grade, because I pushed him into uncomfortable rooms that
Yes,
he was very scared, but
I
I
love
had to
it.
help him get comfortable with that.
Yes,
It's uncomfortable going to your first day of job at a retail store or a fast food restaurant, but we push them to that. Why not push them a little further?
correct.
To
I love
rooms where they might meet somebody else. So that, I'm gonna be honest, I'm still on a high. And then also recently my daughter got married, my oldest. So that also
oh,
just
that's
so many,
wonderful.
that
Oh,
right there was like
wrap it up. You got a whole book of crabs. Wow.
2026 is just what a blessing. And knowing the challenges that she and I experienced so young. We were both super young. I was raising her, she was raising me, Lord have mercy. And so I looked at her on her wedding day and I said, look at God. Look at God. And I'm so grateful we survived all the things we went through to be at that point, and to see her so happy, so in love with such a beautiful person to spend the rest of her life with. That right there.
Look
Yeah.
at God. Look at God. Give it. We got to clap it up for the God. Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
And so,
So, wow, look at how we're just flowing. So, the next question, highs and lows. That's part of motherhood or fatherhood,
amen.
right?
Oof.
So, what has kept you spiritually grounded? Do you have, how did you stay spiritually grounded and anchored? Like, do you have a practice? Do you believe? Well, you said God, so I'm going to make the assumption carefully that you believe, you're a believer.
Yes.
So what are some practices or what are some things that you do to keep yourself grounded being the mom of
Yeah. Yeah,
not,
that's a real question. And you gotta
yeah,
have something. You gotta have something or you'll lose your mind. So
up
going
in
to
here, up
church,
in here.
raising my kids in church. I'm so glad my mother made us go to church when we were little. We didn't like it then, but I'm so glad she did, because raising my kids in the church was so important. Because it helped them stay grounded, and me stay grounded. It was like a release. I used to always wish we could have Friday night church, because by the end of the week I was like, "Phew, I need church right now, like right now. I can't wait till Sunday." But the other thing I did, I've always exercised. I used to be an athlete, and so for me, since I've been pregnant with my daughter at 19, I have swam, and or I do water aerobics. So just being in the pool, there's something, maybe because I'm a Pisces, there's something about being in water that
Oh, you're
just,
Pisces. I'm a
I'm a
Scorpio.
Pisces.
I'm a water. I love water too. That's my sport. Okay.
And so that has been it's something about being in the water that, like, anything going on in my life, it just disappears. It just disappears. So everywhere I've lived, I've been a part of the MCA, and I've, you know, participated in water aerobics or some form of water activities that kept me grounded. So that's why I love going to the beach, and something about being near water. So I also take Epsom salt baths at least 3 times a week.
Okay.
I'm very, very, I am religious about my baths. Bubble baths. My mom used to take bubble baths, and it's so funny how now I look back and I'm like, okay, I see. Yeah, that is very important for me. So I have to start my day really early because I do this before work, after the gym. And so it's if I, yeah. And now I do different. I'm weightlifting because of my age. So, but yeah, you have to find something. My sister bowls, so you got to find something to give you that time meditation, right? So I meditate when I'm in the water, but you got to give yourself. I always got up early, like when I was in college and I had a child. I always got up like 2-3 hours, so I still wake up 4:35 in the morning, and that's my time. It's kind of like the whole house is mine, everybody's knocked out, and yeah, so you got to have that time before the world just goes crazy.
You're absolutely right. And one of the things too, I realized with anybody who is an athlete or a dancer or any type, or even music, and you have a music instrument, it teaches you discipline. And it teaches you consistency and commitment and perseverance, because some days you're not going to want to show up. And in the reality, the real world, we have to show up.
Amen. No, you're right.
So, yeah, so thank you for sharing that. So let's move into power of exposure. Your book speaks about the power of exposure, why exposure is so critical in shaping a child's mindset and future.
So exposure is everything, literally. Like I said before, you can't be what you can't see. Young people can't be what they can't see. I think we miss a lot of opportunities within our own families. I've done it. Like my kids didn't know what my brothers did. They didn't know what my sister did. Because, we're just at the family reunion, or we're at the cookout, or we're at Thanksgiving, but nobody's really talking about work. And I'm like, wait, why do we do that? Why aren't we sharing these, gems and information? How did you get there? Uncle, how did you get there? Auntie, what did you do? What do you think about your career? All those things. And sometimes we don't share enough information. And so that's an easy one because it's right in your family and your house. But it's really important for young people. I feel this is my own blueprint, to get exposed to as many different careers or journeys as possible, so that they can start ruling out what's something they might like. I think I like a little bit of this, or I don't like this. And so they can start deciding what their passion is, right? And then the goal is to help them turn that was my goal, to help my kids turn their passion into a paycheck. Because I was like, if I've been a mama since 19, then how can I get them paid so I can get back to my 19-year-old dreams?
Correct. That part.
So yeah, that's really important. The power of exposure. Oops, sorry. I got a little frog in my throat. So
That's okay. Take your time.
so that's important, because college is an expensive way to expose your kids
Mm-hmm.
to wait
Correct.
until.
Correct. Take your time. Take your time, Sora. Because we want all them wisdom nuggets that are coming out of you right now.
Well, I want to say this too. Going back, we are talking about things.
Good
Music has been.
evening.
You mentioned music.
Good evening, Yahira. She
Hey,
was so she was one of she's I never met her in personally, but I feel like I know Yahira forever. We just became LinkedIn besties. So she said that she was so excited to come on and hear your
oh, I
today.
love it.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. You were talking
I
about
was
music.
saying that, just going back to music, as a healer. I dance. My kids I've danced them to sleep. Like, that was my way of healing myself. When I came into work today after work, in
You
the
and I
house
have
after work,
so much in common. We have
I
so much
went
in
straight to, I turned the TV on, put some music on, tried to dance out some of my little nerves about this call tonight. But music is everything for me. And I range with all kinds of music, because I went to a camp, and my mom sent us to these free camps in upstate New York. And so we had no FM radio. So I know so many AM radio songs. My friends be like, how you know all that songs? That's all I had for 6 weeks in the summer. But music is my healer outside of the water.
Me too. Me too. I love music. We have a lot in common. I
Mm-hmm.
love all of that. So then the next question I have is how can parents Well, you did share that. I'm gonna skip that. Remember, I told you we're gonna skip some because I put the way. um, what are in regards to parenting? Um, what are practical ways parents can nurture the gift that a child has if the resources are limited? I
Mm-hmm.
can't. One thing I will tell you is I am so solution based. When somebody comes to me, they better be ready for a solution because I don't do chronic complainers. I'm allergic to them. So, what would you recommend? What would you
I hear you.
recommend?
No, those are energy drainers. You can't do that. I'm like my whole life is outside of toxicity. I can't. I'm allergic to all of that. So no, I get that. Because there's always a way, and being a Christian, I just also believe that if you ask for something or you're praying about something and God's using you for something, that you can't be worried and complaining all the time either. You got to wait for his time. Like I tried a million things in my life on my time, and guess what? Mm-mm. It was just like, yeah. So it's just better to wait on his time. So solution based. Their information. Honestly, we have a lot more information now than I did when I was raising my kids, as far as like AI and Google and all that other stuff. But and I also feel like because it was something I was so serious about after I saw one of my children experience something so beautiful,
Mm,
it was like God just said, "Okay, so I'm gonna give this to you, and but I need you to make sure other people get it."
okay,
And so
I
I felt
like
like I built it, and like just more information, and I thought it was funny because even though my kids were pissed off because I kept putting them in all these things, they were the ones that kept saying, "Ma, this other kid told me about something else," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And they wasn't even thinking that she getting ready to put me in that. They got hip later on, but so, you'd be surprised. I'm going to tell you something because I've had the fortune of being around some incredibly powerful and wealthy people
okay.
all through my kids, right? All
Okay,
through my kids.
I'm listening. I'm
And when I
listening.
get to these spaces, I'm in awe, but I'm trying to play it off like, I've been to the Hamptons before. No, I have not. And I've been to a party in the Hamptons, a fundraiser with all these superstars and stuff. And so I'm there as a chaperone, right? Because my son is a part of a program.
Yes.
And one of the things he had to do was he built an app, and he was in high school, and they were displaying it to all these different philanthropic folks. And it was just so amazing. What I will say to you is anybody who's attained a certain level of success, most of them want to give back.
Yes, me too.
They're just waiting to be asked.
Yes.
But because they're not gonna go creeping around and ask your kids, do you want help or do you want a mentor? So you just gotta ask them. And you know how many people I have met through DMs. Now, first of all, I had to learn how to do all that, and I figured it out. Well, I will DM somebody in a second. I have read books and DM the author.
Oh, I did too.
I need to talk to you about this book. I have asked an author. It's funny. There's a sister, Shelley Archambault. I love her. She's what do you call her? She was like the first Black female CEO in Silicon Valley
Okay.
ever. Read her book on a cruise, got off that cruise and was like emailing her like, "Can you be my mentor?" Found out she used to live near us in New Jersey at one point in her life. She wrote back. I guess she was like, "Girl, is you crazy?"
You and I are so much alike. I can't believe that's something I would do.
But I love the title of your podcast because her book is called Unapologetically Ambitious. And I read it cover to cover like that. And I can't even say I'm a big giant reader all the time. Like, I read a lot with my kids, but I didn't get to read books for a long time because I was so busy doing stuff with them. So when I read her book, I was like, I was on it. And she started a podcast and she still has it. And just really amazing person, has written me back and forth, sent me a signed copy of her book. One day we're going to meet in person. But the point is,
what's her name again? I'm gonna go and request her.
Shelley Archambault.
Archibald.
Don't get me to spell it wrong, but Unapologetically Ambitious
Okay,
is her book. And it's just an amazing book, especially for women, especially for Black women, especially for mothers. Talk about sacrifices that sister had to make. She had to live in a different city. than her husband and kids.
Wow.
You know, because they kept moving her and all these different things to climb, right? I'm doing a project on I'm gonna plug this. I'm a part of the New Jersey Black Women's Collective.
Okay.
It's out of Mercer County and Bergen and Rutgers and Newark now, Essex County. Please apply. Please apply when they open. Follow
I'm,
them on
oh,
Instagram.
I'm gonna apply. You already plugged so many other things. I done plugged it in this brain of
It's
mine.
such an amazing organization, but one of the things we have to do is a capstone, and ours is on the digital divide actually around women, not
Oh
even
my
just
God.
Black women. So,
Can I tell you something? Stop right there,
mhm, mhm,
that I'm back in school. I kind of kept it to my chest. Yes. I'm back in
mm.
school for my doctorate in education.
Oh,
And
praise
that
God.
is my interest. I just shared it with another. So actually today, I feel like this is a moment where I need to share. So my focus is digital health literacy as the new social determinant of health
Wow.
regarding health equity, education, and lack of access. Because, like
Yes.
you just said, we're going to get left behind if we're not knowledgeable. So, thank you. I will take what you said to heart.
So
I'll
we
do
do
it.
class every other Saturday, and just doing the work and the insight and the research, and it's just like in the facts, it's like, whoa, some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing, and it's such a generational gap. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, it's a problem. And so I watched a movie last night. I like documentaries. I watched Blackberry. Now I've never had a Blackberry, but I watched the documentary. And in that entire movie, with all these engineers throughout this movie, two women I saw the entire time. The entire time. So I know this is going back into the 90s, but the point is, it hasn't gotten much better. So anyway, I digress. We got work to do.
Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely. So, thank you for sharing that. And then, so moving on, there's so many great questions. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug some of or we'll figure it out. What would you say to parents who feel like they've lost themselves? Like, I know there were moments in time where I was like, yo, like you just said about your 19-year-old self, or I will say to myself, my 29-year-old self, because I had them at 30. So I'll be like, dang, my 29-year-old self, there's so many things I wanted to do. So what would you say to parents who felt like they lost themselves while raising their children?
So, it's really interesting. I got a chance to be a mother in two different decades, right? Oh, I know, right? Congratulations. You didn't put the clap up for that. For you. You gotta do that. I want to hear the claps. That is
While
so
you're
cool.
talking, I'm doing multiple things here, but I'm
Okay.
listening. Go ahead.
So, being a mother at 19, I didn't know better. So I didn't even know what I was missing. I didn't know I
Mhm.
missed all the club and party scenes and all the things. I didn't know. But now when my friends or relatives talk about, oh, remember this in the 80s
Mhm.
in New York, this club, that club, I was like, oops, I don't know. Cause I had moved down south. I was taking care of the baby.
Oh,
So
you weren't at Bentley's and Cafe Wawa and Shadows and
it was
all
my
that.
alter ego. Wasn't me. Wasn't me. Wasn't me. So, but because I didn't know, I didn't really miss anything, right? I'm making up for it now. Like, I'm traveling the world, doing the things. I guess in the last 5 years, I've been to 14 countries. So that
Ooh.
was one of my goals at 19. I went to a particular college. I skipped the 11th grade. I skipped the 12th grade. Went to a college and was going to do mission trips. Right, my first mission trip was to Haiti because all my friends were from Haiti. I couldn't wait to get to Haiti. Anyway, so I got detoured. Right, the
Okay.
conference I just spoke at was called Dreams Deferred. My
Mm.
dreams got deferred. Oh, it ain't no big deal. So because I'm here still, right, and I can
He's
slow
my
down for those things.
a plug. Excuse me, a plug to Langston, the late Langston Hughes. That is my favorite poet. I just had to.
Mhm.
So is it named after him? The late Langston Hughes. Okay.
Yes, the College Board Dream Deferred Conference. They have it every year. And
Okay.
it's connected to an HBCU conference. So amazing, amazing conference. Just, amazing educators from all over the country. So I do feel a little different now about parents. So, and then I had my second group of kids when I was 35, 37, and 40.
Mm.
So I feel like for someone who has had a whole life, right, up until maybe they're 35 or so, they probably did a lot of the things they wanted to do. So they're probably going to feel it harder than I did at 19. So, I mean, I had no money, but I had a lot of energy probably. I have no sense. But someone at 40 having children or their late 30s, they probably are a little bit more established, right, financially. And that might be why they waited. I'm not sure. But they're going to miss all that lifestyle that they had, that they experienced. Remember, I never got that. So that's going to be, to me, that's going to be a big, like, wait, what? I can't, that's to me is a bigger, I was I was just young and dumb, so what are you gonna do? But I figured it out. So, but now that I was able to make those sacrifices. When you ask a question about being lost, you only have them for those quick years go by so quick. I know it seems like when you're in the trenches, it's like, oh my God, this is a lot. It is a lot. So you got to pace yourself. But the biggest thing my mother said to me, she was not happy with me for being a teenage mom. But she said to me very emphatically, you are going to take breaks, or you better take breaks. And she wasn't a fan of my husband's. So she said, I will meet you at Raleigh Durham Airport in North Carolina, and you can hand off the baby while you're taking your finals or you're doing your thing, whatever, you need a break. So she taught me to build in, and I saw my mother, I'm the last of six kids. I saw my mother building breaks into her lifestyle. Even if she didn't have a lot of money, she still built in breaks, whether that's a 24 hours, whether it's a week, whether it's a weekend, she did. And so you have to give yourself, everybody's happier when mom is happier, right? When you go and take some time for yourself, whether that's a spa day, if you're in the Northeast, you can go to Sojo. Like, I will be there when they open at 8 and they waking me up at 9:45 talking about, lady, you gotta leave. So I get some good sleep. Sometimes I'll get some work done. They got an office, they got a gym there. I'm just saying, like, sometimes it's just, and my phone is off and nobody can call your name. And you gotta know that you deserve that. You gotta give yourself permission to take breaks, or you are gonna burn out and you're not gonna be a good person
That
to
part.
yourself or anybody else. So give yourself permission, because a lot of people said to me along the way of raising my kids, like, and people still kind of say stuff, but I'm like, girl, bye. It's like, hey, where you going? Take care of me.
And I
So
love how I
we've been
love how
taught to, we've been taught to feel guilty and feel like we have to be present 24/7 every minute of the day. That means your kids are watching you do that and they're going to do the same thing. So they're not going to self care. And that's a problem.
and I am so glad you said that because I had to unlearn, and I have no problem. My mother, may her soul rest in peace, phenomenal woman. She labor of love. That's who she. Someone once told me, your passport, meaning me. She said your passport to life with people is kindness. Everybody has a passport, right? You right now, I'm learning so much from you. I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh my God, I gotta bring Rhona back because she's just popping out so many wisdom nuggets. It's not enough time in a day. So we're gonna have to, be part two, part three, part four of this whole podcast. But what I do want to say is that I had to unlearn some of my mother's behaviors. I love how you said your mother had built-in breaks. I can't really say that my mother really took the time to really be present. Did she
Mm,
know how to have fun? Did she love her family? Go hard and go home for everybody? Um,
yes.
and she left this earth at 75, which is still
Wow.
relatively young. So,
Wow.
and she had me at 45. So that tells you, like you just
Wow.
said, she spent most of her life focusing on her career, her family. She brought every last, and this is speaking truth to power. She brought every last one of them from Haiti to here. She came in
Wow.
260. So labor of love, labor of love. But that was her story. I know for me and
Hmm.
myself and I knew that I had to hit the reset button
Right.
because I told you in a global pandemic, a nurse being everything to everybody, I was going to explode. And I thank you for sharing that with us.
Well, thank God you figured that out. No, seriously, how many people don't? No, I'm being real with this. This is, if you don't, your body. There's a book called "The Body Keeps Score." It's real. It's real, and you can only do so much. And teaching our kids to be sacrificial is crazy. That because they're gonna do what we do, not what we say. So I think that's really important. That's, the chapter 4 of this book is called "Evolving Our Parenting Legacy," and
Mm,
that's what you did. You said, I love my mom, I love what she did and the sacrifices she made, but I'm going to take it to the next level. I'm going to evolve. I'm going to make some changes. I feel like I'm that person in my family, like a catalyst. It's like, I love mommy, that was cool, but nah, I'm not doing that. I'm going to take this, so yeah, I think that's so important, and giving our kids permission to do things on a different level as well. But yeah, that is, it's not something that, listen, we're still functioning with 14 generations of trauma in our running through our veins. So we got some
correct,
undoing to do.
correct,
And sometimes
correct.
we don't know why we behave the way we do, but we still got some work to do. And so that's why it's so important to have a healing specialist or someone in your life to help you on this process and on this journey. And parenting is one of those journeys. It is not easy. You go to work,
Yes, no,
tell you what to do, how to do it, what to do. Parenting, they're like, okay, let me give you a little parenting class, show you how to change a diaper, nurse a baby. Then
so
you're on
I'm
your own.
yeah. So out of your book, this is not one of the questions. It's off the cusp. What was your favorite chapter that you wrote in the book?
Oh man. This was like having a sixth child. Let me just tell you, whew, child, this was a lot. They're all my favorite. I'm not gonna lie. Chapter 4 took me a minute though. It took me a
Okay.
minute. I had to rewrite it a few times. Because this is such a sensitive topic about our own parents and then evolving from there. And I see some people have taken it a little too far in a sense of we're doing, I think that's called gentle parenting. So I'm so old school, and I just got to say this because parents have come to me and they said, how'd you get your kids to do all these things that they did? One, I told you I created a village, but two, it comes to a point where this is what we're doing. There's no options here. And when parents say, "Well, I don't know, they don't want to do this," and no, 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 no. My mom. So I will say this: if I could write another chapter, like, who raised you? How many options did you have? My mother made a meal and it was on your plate, and that's all you had to eat. It wasn't like we going to Wendy's and this, that, and the third. And I know, and so my kids used to use the phrase, right? I know a lot of kids do this. Well, so and so ain't doing that. They ain't got to do that. They ain't got to do these chores. And I said, well, then pack your stuff and go live with them because this what we doing over here. And so I think that parents kind of got to get back to this. Nothing I did was abusive. We put kids on football fields, on baseball fields, on wrestling fields. I mean, my son used to pitch for a team, and I'm like, that is the most dangerous thing I think I've ever done was put my child on the baseball field. But yet, because they don't want to go to a program at a corporate office or learn about some topic they've never heard of, that and they don't want to do it, and that no, man, no, you don't want to do it, but you're gonna do it. And that's kind of my house, my rules. That's how I raise my kids. And I think we should stay like that.
I love that. I love that. I'm going to clap that up for you there. I just, oh gosh, it has a mind of its own right now. But anyway, I I want to go in. I'm a respecter of time. I do have one final. It's called rapid fire session, where I just literally just give me one moment
Sounds
here.
scary.
Okay. Yeah, it's called rapid fire. It's really testing your neurons, the brain, how quickly you can respond. But I'm going to ask one question. It's not one question, it's a series of questions, but you only have one word to define whatever I'm asking. You think you can?
One word. Uh-oh. Did I lose you, Queen? She said rapid fire. Oof. I need to rapid fire this hair. What did I do? Well, while we're waiting, let me show y'all the cover of the book. How to Raise Kids That'll Thank You Later. And there's my crew, 2 live crew, 5 live crew, we'll call them. But this is an honor. I hope I've been able to give some insight to some folks, you know. Mm-hmm. Yay, you're back. I was trying to fill in.
My wonderful Wi-Fi and technology, people know, right? Technology. The technology was acting up, was having a seizure earlier at 5:00 this morning. I had to text my boss, look, I don't know what's going on. We got a county outage.
I can't right now. I'm ready. I'm ready for rapid fire. You said a one word.
Yeah, one word for, we're just going. Muy rápido, okay? So, parenting in one word.
Hard.
Love or discipline, which one matters more?
Love.
The biggest mistake parents make today. You want me to move on?
The biggest mistake.
Okay.
No consequences.
Okay. Or I would say, I could speak from my experience. Comparing a child.
Mm-hmm. That's not a good thing.
That's not a good thing. Okay. So one thing every child needs but doesn't always get.
Doesn't always get. Love. They just need a lot of love. Discipline. I'll say discipline.
The most powerful lesson a parent can teach.
Teach. One word. Grace.
Exposure changes everything because
it opens up a whole world, a whole new world. And once you open up that world, there's way more than one word. Once you open up that world, you can't close it. You can't close their mind. They saw the other side. They're going.
Okay, it's good. It's good.
Everything's a word.
You good? So, nature or nurture, which one shapes the child more?
Nurture. I'm a hugger. I love my baby.
Yes. Now, one thing parents should stop doing immediately.
Beating themselves up.
That's a good one. I would say, for me, I would say blaming the child.
There you go. Or themselves.
Yeah, or themselves, correctly. And a grateful child is raised by
a grateful parent. Listen, I know my kids, every day I woke up, I said, we woke up. All right. And everybody we know woke up because we get no phone calls. That's how we starting our day.
Exactly. And legacy for you means what?
Just well-being, whole person. a whole
One
person.
one thing you wish every parent understood.
Um, it's okay to make mistakes.
Should parents be friends or authority figures?
I don't really like the word authority, but because I know my kids would be like, I don't like that word. Um, just be a parent.
Okay.
Give them what they need. Teach them how to fish. Teach them how to survive when you're not here.
There you go. Strict parent or soft parent?
Those are two ends of the continuum, but if you got to lean one way, strict. You got to have rules. They need rules. They want rules. They're craving rules. And when
Yes,
they learn how
yes.
to function with your rules, then they'll know how to handle rules at work and everywhere else that they have to abide by.
And the final mic'd up and unapologetic rapid fire question. You ready? You ready? We are raising children to.
Make the world a better place. And they find it.
So before that concludes mic'd up and unapologetic podcast for tonight, but before we leave, and I just want to know, do you have any final parting words, any uh upcoming activities we do, anything that you want to share with the audience before we say goodbye?
Reach out if you have any questions. Don't ever feel afraid to reach out to we're starting our podcast, I'll say that. I started a program called The Power of Exposure. Yes, on YouTube in COVID, during COVID, called The Power of Exposure. It's actually a phenomenal way to give parents and students an opportunity to hear from young people who've had levels of success. And they're young, they're under 30. So I thought it would be great. It's like peer mentoring, to hear their stories and hear their hiccups and their down, all the things, the highs and the lows. And you got to understand that, right? You can get a D, but still go to medical school. So I just, want people to give themselves grace and understand that life is not one grade or one situation. We've all made mistakes. And so we're excited to make that into a podcast now. So we're super excited to bring that about the book and give a space for parents can have more dialogue, right? One-on-one dialogue, and ask questions and hear from other parents and other successful people. So that's coming soon.
Awesome, awesome. And how can they find you, Soror Vega? And by
So
the way, you can't call her Soror unless you're a member of the sorority. I happen to call
maybe
you
like
Soror, my
I know they'd be
Soror.
like typing me, Sarah. So they can find me at on Instagram and Facebook at Parent Matterz with a Z, and then also on LinkedIn, Rhona Vega, and also on YouTube, The Power of Exposure, Parent Matterz.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much. I just want to say I'm so blessed and I'm so honored that you took time to come and we finally connected. I know you went to Ghana. Oh, can you tell us a little bit about that Ghana experience before you leave?
You gotta make me cry. You know that my heart is. I left my heart in Ghana, girl. So yes. So I've had the pleasure, like I said, in the last 5 years, I started taking some of my time back and focusing on me. And Ghana was one of the places I went by myself for my birthday. I actually went with a group of women called Travel Divas, Black women, and that was amazing, absolutely amazing. But it was also good for me to take this spiritual journey by myself because all I had to take care of was me, and that was super important to do because I'm a take care of person. I'm a caretaker, and so that was important because Ghana is such a spiritual journey, what was for me, and I think for any person of color who, yeah, that's home. And so I'm glad I have one foot heading back to Ghana. Let me just tell y'all, and the next time I go, I'm probably not gonna come back. because that's how much I loved it. And I found my tribe over there. There's a bunch of Sorors over there. There's a bunch of Americans that have moved there. While I was at Goldman Sachs, I met a sister who hires Ghanaians. She trains and hires Ghanaians to be virtual assistants. So why God would put her next to me? So next to my trip going to Haiti, Ghana, that's all I gotta say. It is really important about going home and spending time back home, because one of the last things they told our ancestors was they would never see these shores again. So when we go back home, to me, we're freeing their spirits.
Wow.
So it's
Powerful.
so important to get there. It is so important. And so, yeah. So take some time. You can, like, I love trips where I can put on layaway. Y'all see, I'm an old school parent, okay? And so that the travel divas, you can start paying on it 2-3 years ahead of time. And it was nice because I don't really travel luxurious because I got 5 kids. I know how to travel on a dime. But that, yeah, that was, yeah.
I love that for you. I'm gonna clap that up. I sent the twins in 2019 to Ghana. They went to Ghana. Actually, I told them they turned 16. That was their swag 16. They actually went with shout out to Montclair Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Their father is a Kappa,
Wonderful.
and some of their mentors are Kappas. And so that's how they were the first group to go to Ghana, the Kappa Leaguers. So a lot of those Kappa Leaguers are now college students, if not graduates of college right now. And they went to Ghana. My father's from Sierra Leone, West Africa. My mom is from Haiti. So they got to go to Africa. They got to go to the motherland before I got to go. So next time it's gonna be me.
Well, I'm glad you said that. And so I'm gonna put the last plug is that's so important. I'm so glad you did that with your children. That is so important to make them worldly like that. And then especially visiting home. There's an organization called Birthright Africa. Please look them up. And that they're all about sending students from age 13 to 30, I think, to Africa. You choose the country. They help you curate the trip. The kids do study before they go. And this has been my dream since I met them about 5 years ago to take, you can take up to 13 students to the motherland. So you pick the country, they work with you. So check it out.
Oh, beautiful. Well, I will definitely. We had so much fun. Those questions weren't intimidating, were they, Sor? I mean,
No.
we had so much fun. So I have to bring you
saw
back
me over here dancing. I've been like dancing it off, like it's weird.
I really want to take a deep dive some other time about that chapter called, what was it? Evolving, chapter 4. You said evolving out of.
Oh yeah. Evolving the parenting legacy. Yes, chapter 4.
Yeah,
You definitely want to read chapter 4.
we're gonna, yes. And where can they get your book? Yeah, I didn't hear you.
So the book is sold in everywhere in 60 countries. Oh my God, look at that. Amazon, Barnes and Noble. If you're local, you can reach out to me. You can DM me, and I'll get you a signed copy. Hey. But yeah, so yep, everywhere books are sold. We're working on getting it on Audible right now, because I know as a parent I love listening to books, and there's a lot of action items in this book at the end of every chapter, so it's super good for you to be able to read chapter 1. Okay, let me do this, and then come back and read chapter 2. All the things. So yeah, and then we're also working on translating it into Spanish, and eventually Creole. Hey, let's do
it. But I got one more plug, since you plugged into so many things. And so when I last year I saw you up in Martha's Vineyard, and that's one of the things I would love to do. It's on my bucket list. But Martha's Vineyard always falls around the twins' birthday. But I'm thinking that I'm going to just take them up there and let them enjoy that opportunity. So if you know anything or what's going on or opportunity spokes, I'm putting a plug in for myself, speaking opportunity, hosting opportunity. I'm there with you, Soror. I'll even come in your luggage.
It is a great place to network. That's also on my bucket list to take students up there on a regular basis. I've taken some college students up, but I know how life changing that experience was for me and my children, and I learned about that about Martha's Vineyard because remember I grew up in the projects in New York City. I know a
Oh, you
thing.
do?
My
Where?
son in the Lower East
Where?
Side, Baruch houses by
Okay,
Delancey Street.
okay.
Yep.
The
So
last
my
was
son was
the
at
shop.
yeah. What? So my son was at a program at UPenn. Again, another kids at UPenn, mad, said, Mom, other kids are mad because their parents are summering on the vineyard. And I was like, what's that? So I look it up, boom, God, just ordering my steps. Next thing I know, I'm hosting an event there. So for 300 students. So yeah, I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful that God has allowed me to push past my fears
Amen.
and do his work.
I love that. Can you repeat that? That'll be our final, and then there's gonna be nothing else. We're just gonna go silent, like the silent, silent challenge, mute challenge, like Beyonce. Just say that last part, and we just gonna exit
You,
off.
you have to put yourself in a position to hear God's calling for you. And when you do that and you focus on his word and his direction, he handles it all. When I say laid a foundation, put me pulled me through situations like there's no other way. I don't want to operate in any way other than that. So when people say, hey, are you doing this, are you doing that, I said, let me see what God says. I tried it my way. It was a lot. Roller coasters, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, this is so sweet.